Morning everyone, my name is Shane and I'm a chartered accountant and I have been practicing in professional services firms within the Big Four for over 14 years. And I've worked predominantly in various countries like in Australia, Sydney where I'm at right now, also in Dubai, in Mauritius and in the United Kingdom. What I wanted to talk to you today was what is your net worth and how to increase your net worth. For a lot of people that are within the finance professional or accounting background, what I'm about to explain is pretty basic. But what I would challenge every single one of you is, what are you doing in order to apply this knowledge and bettering your life and actually doing something about increasing your net worth? I'm passionate about this because I was in the same position 5 years ago where I was in a rat race where I was literally living paycheck to paycheck and wondering why towards the end of the month I'm having to remove funds from my savings account that I put money aside for in my so-called budget, but having to move it back across in order to pay the bills. So I wasn't really managing my money that well. Everything goes down to basics, but it's the application of those basics, those small little steps that will actually make a significant difference to your life. And so without further ado, we'll go straight into it. What is your net worth? So a lot of people think net worth is something that you actually hear about from celebrities and only they have net worths, rich people and things like that. But that isn't the case. Every single one of us has a net worth, and that is simply calculated by saying what exactly do I own minus what do I owe. And it's as basic as that. How much do I own versus how much do I owe? So what we're going to do is break that down into assets and liabilities. So what you own is called an asset. It can come in the form of things that you have bought or income that you get, and what you owe is in the form of your liabilities, what you owe people, and your expenses that are split into two things, which are effectively necessities that you need for everyday living and your wants. So we'll break it down. So your net worth can be easily calculated by going what you owe versus what you owe. So as I said, your assets, that is what you own. Excuse my hieroglyphics. I didn't get a PhD in English. Okay, so we have assets are your house that you have paid outright for. You have a car that you have also paid outright for. Any type of income that you receive, be it from your salary or from any type of passive income, rental properties and things like that. All of that adds up to your assets in terms of what you own. And what you owe are your liabilities. So liabilities, as we all know, are things like if you don't own your house and you have a mortgage or you pay rent, that is a liability. And the second one is, again, your car. If you don't own it and you finance it, so you have a financial loan for your car or any type of credit card or personal loan that you have. These are probably the big ticket items. And then you have other things such as expenses. And within the expenses, I want to split it into twofold. So within expenses, you have your necessary expenses and you have your wants. So your necessary expenses are things that you need in order to go about your day-to-day lives. And those are things like, again, paying your rent for most of us is quite important. And transportation to go to and from work or from place to place, A to B. Private healthcare with Bupa or whatever service provider you do use, that is quite a necessary service. And things like, depending on what your priorities are, some people say that the gym is a necessary expense that they will want to pay for. And then wants are things like, we all know what our wants are. We can't really afford certain things, but we want them because they're nice and shiny objects. So now understanding this basic principle, how now can we increase our net worth? It's pretty simple. By increasing your assets and decreasing your liabilities, right? So what I recommend in this COVID situation that we're all facing now is none of us, well, not many of us have the money to go out there and buy houses or cars just like that, right? Because at the end of the day, cash flow is king. And if you have a negative net worth, say you have 50,000 in terms of the assets that you own, minus the liabilities that you owe, let's say 60 grand, you have a negative net worth of 10,000. And what we want to do is try and increase our net worth by manipulating these two. So if we break it down and we say from an asset side, income is probably something that is fixed, but we need to try and understand how it is that we can actually increase our income, right? So negotiating a salary increase could be one of the things if you're actually working in corporate. The second one is trying to find out what are the things that you can do in order to increase your income, investing in shares in the forex market, any type of thing that you're good at or you're passionate about, you can earn an income from. So that is a way of increasing your assets. Decreasing your liabilities. This one is an easy one to understand but difficult to put in practice because it's so easy to get money, so easy to gain, but it's so difficult to pay back or to spend in terms of when it's something that you're not getting the benefit from, like paying your credit cards or paying back a loan that you borrowed and things like that. So I'll start off with expenses because that is an easy one to comprehend. So with your expenses, the ones that are fixed in terms of your rent, your groceries, your transport, take a look and see what it is that I can decrease from the expenses point of view. What is it that I can actually control to a certain extent? So do I need to live in this fancy place? If that is what you want to live alone and you want to live in a 2-3 bedroom, that's your prerogative. But you need to sort of take a step back and say, at the end of the day, I want to increase my net worth. What is it that I need to do? Okay, so taking a look at your fixed expenses and seeing what it is that you can actually tweak or control to decrease your liabilities or expenses. And then on the other side, it is your wants. So gym membership for me, it is quite important to go to the gym, and so that is a necessary part of my life. But for some of you, you might not really care about the gym, and working out at home, especially during this COVID situation, has been fine, absolutely, and you're getting a good pump and you don't need to spend that $150 a month. So, that is big savings times 12. It's a huge chunk of money that will increase your net worth again. Things like Uber Eats, again, which was a very big part of my personal life, where I would Uber Eats at least 3 times a week. And you can imagine that adds up to a couple of grand every year. So if you say $20 per meal times 3 times a week times 52 weeks, that's about 3.2 K within a year. And I don't know about you, but 3.2K is not going to significantly change my life. But if you had an extra $3,200 in your bank account put away, what can you do with that $3,200? Not only does it increase your net worth, but you will have an opportunity to increase double, triple, quadruple your assets through passive income. Ideas, shares, where you can earn dividends, where you make your money work for you. So in a nutshell, this is a quick snippet of how you can increase your net worth. One bonus I'll leave you with is with credit cards and loans. Some of you might have a lot of credit cards whereby you have 2 to 3 credit cards with different banks because you got certain interest rates, interest free, and all sorts of hoo-ha over there. I'll probably make another video of how to increase your credit score overall. But in terms of your net worth, how to increase that is, you probably don't realize every single loan of yours has a different interest rate, and if compounded or consolidated, you would actually have a reduction in interest rate and therefore an increase in cash flow and therefore an increase in net worth. What that means is, I would highly recommend each and every one of you to look back at all your credit cards, loans, and if it is one bank or if it's multiple banks, find one single provider and consolidate all these loans into one place. Not only will it be easier to manage, but the interest will be decreased as well. Okay, and you can take it over an extended loan term as well. So I experienced this a couple of years ago, and this is exactly what I did, and it helped me get out of this rat race. So, I mean, all of this sounds nice and dandy in theory, but what I want you to do is practice. I'm all about practical application. Knowledge is definitely power, but if you don't apply what it is that you know, you'll never get anywhere. And so you can learn the theory, but now what I want you to do is do the doing and actually practically apply this in your personal life and see the results, rather than doing same old and seeing no results and getting nowhere. So in terms of your step 1, and what I'd like you to do is to go back 3 to 5 months. I recommend 3 to 5 months. Start off with 3 months. Go back to your bank accounts, and I want you to split down all your income streams and all your expenses. Some of you have apps where you track your budgets, which is great. Some of your banks actually consolidate into different groups, which is great. And what I mean by consolidate into different groups is, if you look at your bank statement, say for the month of, we're in May, so it's April. So if you download that within Excel, you can put it into 6 or 7 groupings. So put it into groceries, eating out, transport, gym, like pick 6 or 7 categories that you can fit the different expenses to. So you only have 5 or 6 or 7 categories, and it will be very easy to track your numbers and work out what the trends are in terms of your finances and where your money is being spent. And then do that for the next 2 to 3 months, and you will soon identify where your money is going, because most of us know kind of where our money is going, that rent, the big ticket items, car payments, blah blah blah, but we don't really know where the money goes overall when we look at our bank balance at the end of the month and having to utilize it from savings or borrow money or use our credit cards, and then we get so busy being busy that the next month comes and we do the same thing over and over again. So in order to go from where you are to where you need to be, step number 1 after this video, I want you to do this, is download 3 to 5 months of your bank statements. And I want you to do this. Analyze your expenses and break it down into needs and wants, and then see where it is you can reduce to increase your net worth. At the same time, with the extra surplus, think how you can increase your assets. What are the other things you can do to increase your net worth? Could I invest? If you've never invested, educate yourself. Don't over-educate yourself. What I mean by that is, a lot of people go to seminars, look at YouTube, and they learn. And I'm sure a lot of us are doing a lot of learning in COVID. But when are you going to stop? When are you going to start doing? When are you going to start taking action? And now's the time to take action. So from that extra $100, $500, or whatever it is that you save from decreasing your expenses, invest that into yourself. Invest that into your development by actually learning how to do, how to invest in shares, in the foreign exchange, whatever it is that you might not know. Educate yourself, and then when you understand, you will see how easy it is. That this formula, as basic and simple as it is, once you master it, it's just a formula, it's just maths. So knowing your numbers is very, 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 very important, if I'm not stressed that enough. Your starting point, 101, in changing your net worth and increasing your net worth, is knowing your numbers, where you are now and where you need to be, and analyzing what it is that you can change. I hope you find this video useful, and let me know in the comments section below, what is it that you are doing to increase your net worth.